Okay, today I'm going to make up a story, and we're going to have Sterling be the star of our story. So Sterling really likes to learn about crabs, and one day he thought, I think I want to, so he loves learning about crabs. So one day he made a wish that he could be a crab for one day. So he made the wish on a star. He was in his backyard and he saw a star in the sky and he made that wish. Well, the next morning, Roman came out in the yard and saw where's my two? He saw two TWO, two big dogs, sniffing around that little crab. And he heard the crab say, "Help me." So Roman said, "I will help you." And he got Mom and Dad, who took the crab and put him down on the sand at the beach. Well, later that morning, Winnie, James, and Cleo were at the beach, and they saw a little crab. And they said, "I am going to pick him up, put him in my basket to take home." And James said, "Are you sure he is not too little?" Winnie, she said, "No, he was just the right size. And yes, I will take him home so we can play with him." And she put him, in fact, she did not think he was too little. He was just right. So she put him, the basket, out on their counter in their kitchen and said, "Tomorrow morning I will come and make a new home for him so we can all play with him." But Sterling had only wished to be a crab for one day. So the next morning, when Winnie and James and Cleo came downstairs, they were very surprised because instead of a little crab sitting in the basket, there was a great big Sterling sitting in the basket. Now, first they were very surprised, but then they were very happy because now they could all play together and Sterling could tell them all the things he has learned about crabs. And that is the end of my story. So, what is this book about that we are going to read today? Well, it is a story about the mighty reader and the big freeze. So here is a dog whose name is Hugo. but that's his real name. His superhero name is Mighty Reader. So what's going to happen in this book? Well, Hugo is going to a new school today. So he gets on the bus, and the bus driver closes the door with a slam. And Hugo looks at all the other dogs sitting on the bus. And he's a little bit shy, and he says, oh boy, this is a little bit scary. So Hugo is looking for an empty seat, and he's walking, and what's that on the ground? Oh, that's a pencil on the ground. He doesn't see the pencil because he's looking at all the bus was packed, and all he could see was unfamiliar pooches, or dogs. He steps on the pencil and flips right over, falls down. Hey, watch it. Sorry, he says. Well, the dogs come to help him and say, are you okay? What's in your doggy bag? Hugo says, oh, I'm fine. And this guy says, it smells like Cajun meatloaf with gravy and a twist of mint. That's a pretty fancy lunch Hugo has. So, Hugo quietly squeezed into a vacant seat. You must be new. What's your name? Hugo. What's yours? Huh. He says, I am Barnabas Gustav Birkin Babbletown Jr., but my friends call me Barkley. Where are you from? A galaxy far, far away. And Barkley kind of laughs at that, but really, the mystery reader is from a galaxy far, far away. So, Hugo says, what are you reading? He says, oh, my favorite book, Mighty Reader. I know it by heart. He's reading one of the books about the Mighty Reader, and he doesn't know that he is the Mighty Reader. Oh, you picked a great day to start, they tell Hugo. We're having a substitute teacher and an author visit today. A half hour later, Mrs. Wolf introduced Hugo to the class by reading a book called Friends. Hugo read a book that he wrote all about me. Barkley asked if he could be Hugo's lunch buddy. So that's nice. We should all try to be friends with other kids in class, especially the new kids, to help them if they're shy. As you know, it's finally Author Visit Day. To celebrate, I have our author's newest book, hot off the presses. Means it's a brand new book that nobody's read yet. And you're going to love it. To love it. You know, I can read all those words. She handed the glossy new book to Barkley. Now, she didn't know Barkley. She didn't know he's a little bit afraid to read new books because he's not sure about the words. So Barkley says, I don't know that book. Hugo saw that Barkley was in big trouble. He knew just what to do. So he goes into the dress-up center, and he comes out. We don't see him yet. What happens in the classroom is a reading emergency erupted. Lockjaw. Well, Barkley is so scared to try to read the new book, he can't open his mouth. And the other dogs are worried. Zephyr covers her eyes, and Comet starts chasing his tail. Inky howls, and Bronte almost gets sick. They're all nervous for him and says, oh no, how are we going to help him? Well, who's going to help him? The Mighty Reader. Mighty Reader scans the cubbies with his X-ray vision. He finds Barkley's favorite book faster than the eye can see. He was back in his group. So kids in his group didn't even notice he was gone. Wow, it's him, it's Mighty Reader. How did you get here? Greetings. Mighty Reader holds the book in front of Barkley to remind Barkley he knows how to read that book. He hoped it would give Barkley's sagging confidence a boost. Says, Barkley, you know how to read this book. You can learn to read this book too. But was it too late? His friend was freezing up because he was so scared to try to read. So Mighty Reader held up the new book and said, look for the words that you know. Think about what is happening in the pictures. I think you can do it. Play I Spy. What do you see in the cover picture? I spy. Read the picture. I spy a sleeping bear in pajamas. See that? There's a sleeping bear in pajamas. This guy says, I spy a reading disaster. Oh, no, it's not going to be a disaster. Because Barkley's going to go on and say, I smile a mole blowing a horn, trying to wake up the bear. And I spy spring flowers. Bear has overslept. Because bears usually sleep in the winter and wake up in the spring. Then he figures out what the title is because he knows spring flowers when the bear wakes up. So he says, spring is here. He kept right on reading by acting out the pictures. Snore, he says, the bear replied. And when he got to the end, he took a bow and he said, the end. Barkley took the bow and everybody cheered. Read it again. Faster than the eye could see, and without anybody noticing, Mighty Reader was gone. He went back in the closet, took off his superhero costume, came back as Hugo. No one spotted the author who had arrived while they were reading the book, and the author said, I couldn't have read it better myself. Who was that masked superhero, though? Oh, wow, Mighty Reader. I've always wanted to meet the Mighty Reader. He's my hero, said all the dogs. Barkley had a question. How do you make your stories? I was hoping someone would ask me that. I always begin with pictures. I draw and write what I see. The pictures and words work together to create a story. So this author starts by drawing pictures. And he says, my story starts with a dot. And he takes his dot for a walk. What does that mean? Well, look at this. Here's a dot. Here's a kid riding a bike who hits a dot. Wow, trips over the dot, flips over. Wow, what a mess. So the author said, this is kind of like me. I hit bumps along the way. That's normal. Mistakes often help me to see how to make my story work better. So sometimes making mistakes makes you a better writer because you can fix those mistakes and make a better story. There are many ways to make a story, but for me, the picture always comes first. And then he reads. Back on the bus, Barkley is holding a glossy new book. Hey, what have you got? I borrowed it from the library. I'm taking it for a walk. He's taking the book for a walk? Well, look at him. He's walking the book like you walk a dog. And then what does he do? He jumps inside the book. because he likes it so much, he jumps right into the story. He says, it's my new favorite book. But look at, he has a backpack full of books. And Hugo said, what about, Barkley says, oh, I don't think you can have two, we know that two, T-O-O, too many favorite books. And that is the end of our adventure with the mighty reader who could save the day with his superhero skills at reading. So, I hope you enjoyed our book today, because I know you guys are all mighty readers, and you can always save the day. And sometimes looking at the picture in a book can help you figure out the words. So you have a great day. Grandma loves all of you. Bye-bye.